Um, so then how? So we've talked about why, and there's lots to it. There's what I've pitched, the concepts, principles, components. How? Well, in my opinion, I own an IT company, and a lot of people that I speak to about IT, they jump into requirements and they design a scope and they go ahead and build, and then but my view is with this sort of change, if you haven't got people on board to the journeys and the underlying problems, you're going to have an absolute nightmare trying to get any requirements you've dived into actually accepted and adopted. So we talk about this first steps approach, where before we come up with requirements, we're trying to build consensus to take action. And if people on this session are a potential protagonist, somebody that wants to do something about the issues they've seen in their organization with some of the content I've shown, perhaps, you need to be asking yourself, well, what's your perception of what's wrong? What do you think can be done? And what we suggest is, well, why don't you create a model which enables you to discuss it with people, to help people understand the scope of what we're talking about here, to explain the problems and opportunities as you see them, so that you can then perhaps engage with others. That engage with others can be quite sensitive and problematic, but clearly necessary. So we need to engage with others carefully, so that we're not being accusatory about what pains they have and what problems they have, but we're engaging with them on a journey together. And we need to think about who we want to do this with. And Tim's uh, talked to us about the board as one of these areas, but there are all kinds of potential sponsors. With big, we're really looking at a very high level. It's a broad company-wide solution that we're thinking about here. So we're really looking at senior leadership who see gaps in strategy delivery, wanting to do something. We're talking about maybe heads of product who have to be strategic about what their product portfolio is. We have transformation directors who perhaps are looking to be strategic about what change gets implemented. And we've got people from a governance and finance perspective who are concerned about how governance perhaps doesn't work as well as it should within an organization. There are many potential stakeholders with different perspectives, but the idea is that we need to pull these folks together, have somebody to lead, but gain consensus to do something across these kinds of people. And again, just to signpost what's coming along, on the 19th of November, we'll talk about a readiness session where we use a principles-based readiness assessment to try and help an organization understand how it's meeting the principles with some guidance on what good looks like and what bad looks like, so that it can build an understanding as to where it is and what its opportunities and threats are. And maybe if we have been able to engage others in that mental model and gain consensus and start to achieve an understanding of our opportunities and threats, maybe then we can build agreement to workshop this and bring this out into the open. Maybe we can get some acceptance that let's do some analysis and let's share a perspective of opportunity and threat without that being problematic, and be able then to play back to our stakeholders what the opportunity is and what we can move forward with in principle, without having startled the horses or frightened anyone. So this first steps process is a gentle approach to building consensus before we do anything. Um, and there's no talk of business case or budget in there. This is simply about onboarding the right level, because we may be able to produce between us like a reasonable consensus as to our as-is problems. I've obfuscated this because it's quite sensitive in this case, but can we build consensus on what our shape is with respect to the components and the principles that we have. Can we then state simplistically what we think the answers are to those as is problems and start to envision where this is going? There's more of this in the book. The book has a few of these examples where this is actually written up a bit more less blurry, and you might actually see on the big blog pages. There's a readiness model example where we've got a couple of examples of this available, and the readiness session on the 19th of November we'll delve into this bit more. So it is possible to think about a process to engage people and to come up with a picture that doesn't frighten everyone, and to build consensus on what to do, and do that gently so that we can then move on past the first steps to perhaps be confident in our discovery process, where we delve into the detail, into a build process where we build the components we've agreed are necessary to support the adoption that has to happen, and the sustainment of whatever it is that we need to achieve. And that would be across business change activity, technology to underpin it, integration of process and data to enable it. And of course, no one's going to want to bite this off in a one sitting. We'll have a sensible approach to address issues and tackle matters in a way that the organization can swallow and bear the cost and risk around. So, whoa, that's pretty much the how.